Let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Kevin L. Knox, straight out of West Philly. And no, I did not have no wrench uncle like Will Smith to come scoop me up when life got hard. Nah. I had to figure this thing out. Like growing up, I was told that I was dumb, that I was stupid, that I was never going to amount out to anything in life. And if you hear something long enough, you don't just hear it, you start to believe it. And one day, my grandmother, she asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. You know, we all heard that, or were asked that. And I said, I want to be an entrepreneur. But, and she stopped me and said, well, why did you say but? And I said, well, because I was told I was dumb, that I was stupid. And she said, Kevin, why do you walk in the opinions of others when you can freely walk in the shoes of your greatness? And then she handed me a notepad and a pen, and I started to write. And I wrote out my pain, but I also wrote out my vision. And people used to say, like, damn, Kev, you look like you're writing a book. And the whole time, you know, I just didn't realize it in that moment. I thought I was just writing words, but really I was writing my way into becoming. And that's what I want to talk to you about on becoming. See, everybody loves to talk about the butterfly, but nobody respects the crawl. See, the caterpillar is low to the ground, it's vulnerable and easy to get stepped on. And honestly, it can't see far, it can't move fast. And if you're not careful, you'll start thinking that your current position is your permanent identity. But here's the truth. The caterpillar is not just a caterpillar. It's a butterfly in the making. In other words, you are not who you are right now. You are who you're becoming. And the problem is when you've been crawling for too long, you start thinking crawling is who you are. No, that's just where you are. At some point, though, the caterpillar has to make a decision. See, and that decision is to either stay comfortable or step into transformation. And transformation requires the cocoon. That place is dark. It's tight, it's uncomfortable, and it's uncertain. And here's what's crazy. Inside the cocoon, the caterpillar doesn't just grow wings. It literally breaks down. It dissolves. It becomes unrecognizable, which means before you could become who you are really called to be, who you were has to be undone. And that's the part people don't like, because we want elevation without transformation. We want wings without the cocoon, but it doesn't work like that. You're not falling apart. You're being rebuilt. And while you're in that process, what you consume matters. Caterpillars don't turn into butterflies or moths based on what they eat, but what they eat fuels their growth. And the same is true for you. Your environment matters. Your conversations matters. What you listen to, what you watch, and who you are around. That's your diet. And some of us are trying to become butterflies with a caterpillar diet. You can't evolve if you keep feeding on negativity. You need to get into environments where you are celebrated and not tolerated. And hear me when I say this. You cannot feel bad for outgrowing people who had a chance to grow with you. See, that's not betrayal. You know what that is? That's growth. You can't expect, like, people be like, oh, you switching up. As you should. You shouldn't be where you were last year. And don't wait for the world to recognize your greatness. Just be great and let the world catch up to you. Because when you start seeing your worth, you stop giving people discounts. And when you truly start to understand your worth, you stop hanging around people who don't. And honestly, that's not arrogance. That's alignment. Now, let's go a little deeper. Before the truth can set you free, you have to recognize the lie that's holding you hostage. The lie that says that you're not good enough, that you'll always fail, that you'll always be stuck. Before you doubt yourself, I need you to do me a huge favor and yourself and doubt your doubts, because your faith has the ability to move mountains, but it is your doubts that has the ability to create them. And some of us have been living at the base of mountains that we've built ourselves.
Oh my God!
See, you have something called purpose. Purpose is defined as the reason why something has been created or done. It is the answer or solution to a problem, which means you were not just created on purpose. You were created for a purpose. And the Creator knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb, which means you were a purpose before you were a person. And the reason life feels frustrating sometimes is because you're trying to live as a person based on people's opinions instead of living as the purpose you already are. See, you're not searching for purpose. You are purpose. You are a solution to a problem that exists in this world. And inside of you is also not just purpose, but potential. And potential is the ability of what something can become in the future. See, I want you to think about a redwood tree, the seed. It is the size of it is the size of a fingernail, but the potential inside of it measures out to being a 300-foot tall tree. But potential means nothing if you're not nurtured. And nurturing means to care for and encourage the good of something. So the real question is this: how are you nurturing what's inside of you? Are you feeding your purpose or are you starving it? All right. And here's where it all comes together. All right. Your superpower is your imagination. See, when we were kids, we used our imagination freely, but somewhere along the line, we got convinced to stop using it. Imagination is the ability to create images and concepts that are not present to the senses. In other words, you can see something before it even exists, and you have to see it before you see it, because if you can't see it today, you'll never give yourself a chance to live it in your tomorrow. And if you can see it, guess what? You can speak it. And if you can speak it, you can manifest it. And if you can manifest it, you can live it. And if you can live it, you can become it. But here's the reality: you will never learn to fly if you never take the opportunity to leap. And sometimes your only available transportation to get from where you are to where you want to be is a leap of faith. And you cannot continue to crawl when you've been called to soar. Life is going to hit you with jabs of trials, hooks of pain, uppercuts of tribulation, and every now and then you're going to get hit with some low blow obstacles that you didn't expect.
Oh, you got knocked the
But getting knocked down, honestly, it's inevitable, but getting back up is optional. And the fact that you are still here means that you survived every hit that life threw at you, which means you're actually stronger than life's greatest hit. And now it's time for you to throw a punch back. It's time for you to fight your way to that cocoon. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. Yes, it's going to be uncertain. But that place, that's where faith lives. And faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So I want you to do me a favor and yourself a favor and stop crawling in a season where you were called to fly. Stop shrinking in a season you were called to expand. And stop doubting in a season that you were called to believe. And most importantly, stop living like a caterpillar when there's a butterfly inside of you waiting to be revealed. So let's go deeper into the idea of the caterpillar and the butterfly. Because what most people don't realize is that the transformation is not random. It's a process, all right? And that process is called a metamorphosis. Metamorphosis, by definition, is a complete transformation in form, structure, or substance, all right? But let me say it in a way that you'll never forget. Metamorphosis is when what you were can no longer contain who you're becoming. It's not an upgrade. It's not a tweak. It's a complete reconstruction. And if I'm being honest, it's a little supernatural, because inside that cocoon, scientists can explain parts of the process, but even to this day, they can't fully explain the miracle of the transformation. And I need you to understand and catch this. Not everything in your life will make sense while it's happening. Some things are not meant to be explained, and that's just what it is. They're meant to be experienced. That's why faith is required. See, because faith is trusting God in a process that you fully don't understand. So the question becomes this: how do I go from crawling to flying? How do I actually become? Let me give you 4 steps to your metamorphosis. You ready? All right, here we go. Step number 1, recognize that you're more than your current form. Every transformation starts with awareness, because if a caterpillar only sees itself as a caterpillar, it will never pursue the process required to become a butterfly. So the first step is this: you have to see beyond what you are and recognize who you're called to be. This is called identity. This is vision. This is you looking at your current situation and saying, this is not my final form. If you keep identifying with your limitations, you will never step into your possibilities. So you have to upgrade your identity before you upgrade your life, because you don't get what you want. You get what you believe that you are, right? Because it's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. Step 2, separate yourself for the process. In other words, enter the cocoon. Now, here's the part that people avoid, because once the caterpillar is ready, it isolates itself, all right? It builds the cocoon. It pulls away from everything and everyone, which means if you want to transform, you have to be willing to disconnect from certain people, certain environments, and certain habits. Not forever, but for a season, all right? Because you cannot become something new right? While dwelling in your old, right? Some of you are trying to transform and you're wondering why you're not getting that change that you want. Because everybody wants change, but not everyone's willing to change. You got to be willing to leave some of those environments because transformation requires separation. And the cocoon is not punishment, it's preparation. Step 3, allow yourself to be broken down and rebuilt. Now, sometimes you have to be broken into pieces so it could be more of you to give. And this is the hardest step because inside the cocoon, the caterpillar breaks down completely. And I need you to hear this in the right way. Growth will require you to let go of who you used to be. You don't just go through life, you grow through life. And you're going to grow out of that old mindset, grow out of those old habits, grow out of those insecurities. Because the moment you get insecurity of who you've been creating called to be, you will find yourself blooming out of insecurity. And this is where most people resist because it's uncomfortable to outgrow yourself. But let me give you a reframe on that, right? You're not losing yourself. You're releasing what no longer aligns. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? What I need you to do is I need you to start asking, who is this shaping me into? Step 4, emerge and exercise your wings. Now here's the final step and the most important. When the butterfly emerges from the cocoon, it doesn't fly immediately. It has to pump fluid into its wings. It has to build strength, right? Which means just because you've transformed doesn't mean you're finished developing. So now it's time to actually practice. It's time to actually move. It's time to apply, right? It's time to step into that new version of yourself. All right, let's bring this home. So let me leave you with this. You are in one of 3 places right now. You are either crawling, you're in a cocoon, or you're preparing to fly, right? But no matter where you are in the process, I want you to know, honor it. Because every stage has a purpose. The crawl, guess what? It builds hunger. The cocoon, it builds strength, all right? And the flight, it reveals who you've become. So trust the process, all right? I don't want you to just trust the process. I want you to also embrace the transformation and never forget what's inside of you is greater than what you're going through because you were never just a caterpillar. You were always a butterfly in the making.